just leave me one more.
Morning, Diane.
Good morning.
You look like you're sitting all alone.
That's all right. We're
How
almost
are
there.
you, Diane?
Good. My retirement from elected politics is right around the corner.
I came very close to it over the weekend.
Wow, you're not elected.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, to your township, that's right.
Yeah.
Had all the fun you can stand?
No, we have an in-holding in one of our parks.
You have a what?
In-holding in one of our parks.
Wow.
And we have a very nice park out there. So this is the street. And there's a 2.5. Sounds like you have someplace to be at 9:05.
I always have stuff I have to be. I didn't quite realize how
Oh,
hard.
Morgan's. I had my, in part because I think the workflow around here, the very first migraine I've ever had.
Good morning. Today is Tuesday, November 1st. It is 8:30 a.m. It is my pleasure to welcome fellow commissioners, guests, staff, those watching online, recorded or now. Thank you so much for joining us and having an interest in your local government. With that, I'm going to open up public comment. Is there any public that would like to address the Finance and Fiscal Resources Committee this morning? Seeing none, I will close public comment. That will bring us to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wooden, support by Commissioner Sparks. Any questions, comments, or discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor of passing the consent agenda, please say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, please say no. That motion passes. That brings us to item number 3 from the 17th Circuit Court. Al?
Action requested, recommend to the Board of Commissioners to appropriate $100,000 awarded by the Bureau of Justice Assistance, Office of Justice Programs, U.S. Department of Justice, and administered by the Michigan State Police for a 17th Circuit Court program designed to correct chronic absenteeism and assist families and to authorize the board chair or designee to execute the grant agreement, approve extensions, amendments, and increases to the grant appropriation not to exceed 15% of the original award. The Circuit Court submitted a request for $100,000 for the implementation of a youth truancy prevention program to the U.S. Department of Justice. The Back to School program educates parents about the importance of school attendance and creates an attendance plan that includes social service referrals to address potential barriers. The Kent County Sheriff's Department and 17th Circuit Court will partner with Kent ISD to work with families to assess barriers to regular school attendance and create service plans matching families with available community resources. The program will add a full-time school participation specialist position, a juvenile probation officer, to the back-to-school court program and will be shared between the Kent County Sheriff's Department and the 17th Circuit Court Family Division. The school participation specialist will be assigned to families to help assess barriers to regular school attendance and create service plans, helping to match families with available community resources, including parenting, education, and counseling services available through the existing Family Court Diversion Program. The annual cost of salary and benefits for the new position is $90,724. The remaining dollars will fund program supplies and administration. The grant was submitted to the DOJ on July 29, 2022, and the grant agreement was received on September 28, 2022. The term of the grant is October 1, 2022 through September 30, 2023. This item was approved by the Legislative and Human Resources Committee at its October 25, 2022 meeting. If funding is eliminated or decreased, the position will be eliminated unless continuation funding is approved pursuant to the fiscal policy on grants, contracts, and donations. Prior to signature, Corporate Counsel will review and approve all documents.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All right, we'll go moved by Commissioner Wooden. We'll go support with Commissioner Green. And we'll take questions, comments, or discussion, and we'll start with Commissioner Antor.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking, look where we're at. Look what we're being asked to approve this morning. This is crazy. I mean, it may be needed, but once again, government's gonna take over the roles of parents. There's buses, all these school districts have buses, that's not a problem. What's going on these days that are keeping these kids from going to school? It's irresponsibility for the most part, period. I mean, I know, I look at this, we gotta fund all this, and back in the day, this was never a problem. Back when people were really poor and there wasn't all this money around, their kids made it to school. And now I don't know what's happened these days, I really don't. I don't wanna sound like an old curmudgeon, but what is going on that we can't get kids into schools with all the resources we currently have? We got more resources, more money we've ever had, and these parents can't figure out a way to put a kid on a bus. I'm not saying they're all guilty of being irresponsible, they're not. There might be some hardship cases, but let's address those few cases and just hold these parents accountable as opposed to spending taxpayer dollars on, rewarding bad behavior, I guess. That's the way I look at it. I'm sure there's some people here that don't agree with me, but I just look at stuff like this and I think this wouldn't have happened even 20 years ago. Thank you.
Yep, a lot's changed in 20 years. Any other comments? Yes, Commissioner Sparks.
I may sound like an old curmudgeon, and I agree with what you're saying. However, some of the truancy happens because the parents are not responsible, but the kids are, raising themselves, or the parents are at school, or the parents are working, so the children have to get themselves to school, and if they just decide that they don't want to go that day. So while I agree with you, we still need a program in place because the truancy really is getting out of hand. And I think COVID has helped, facilitate that as well. And some of the online schools that we have. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but we need it.
Okay, anyone else? Yes, Commissioner Wooden.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I guess I would say that certainly parental responsibility needs to be number one, but I would also pose that, just because something wasn't noticed by the general public decades ago doesn't mean it wasn't a problem then. As things get identified more and more, we have to find ways to solve the problem. And punishment and punitive measures, especially for folks who are often living below the poverty line, who are more likely than not, we end up creating downward spirals that don't actually solve the problem. It might make us feel good, but they don't fix the issue. And so, seeing that we are accepting this JAG grant, and, it should be noted that we accept JAG grants every year for, I think, roughly the same amount of money. And this time, and we usually program them for one thing or another, and this time we are deciding to program it towards this. So, I think this is an appropriate use of these funds that we appropriate every year, or that we accept every year, and am proud to be voting for it. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Antor for your second time.
Second time, well, since I was actually around decades ago, I do remember what happened decades ago. I'm telling you, this was not a problem. You could find an isolated kid, but they were quickly taken care of by the neighbors, the teachers. Back in the day, I had nuns coming over to my house, tell my mom and dad what was going on, and they grabbed me by the ear and get me into school. But anyhow, I'm gonna vote yes because of the kids. They can't help it. Let's face it, kids cannot help the situation that they're in, but it's gonna be begrudgingly. I just don't like when we get in situations like that, what other families are gonna say, hey, they're getting all this free stuff now, and I'm trying my best to get my kid into school. I want a piece of that action. And when you start rewarding, which I'm gonna call bad behavior sometimes, you're gonna get more of it. And I can't break down what's going on in all these families, but so I don't know exactly, but I just, this is just kind of a common theme that's kind of running through society these days. Fix it with a grant, and responsibility kind of goes out the window. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please say yes. Yes. All those opposed, please say no. That motion passes. That will bring us to item number 4 from the Administrator's Office. Al.
Action requested. Recommend to the Board of Commissioners to approve the FY 2023 General Appropriation Act as the official budget for 2023. It is the responsibility of the County Administrator Controller to prepare an annual operating and capital improvement program budget for the county, and the fiscal year 2023 budget, which is a 9-month transition budget to the new fiscal year, has been submitted to the Finance and Physical Resources Committee for review. Pursuant to state statute, a public hearing on the proposed budget will be held on November 3rd, 2022, and the appropriate public notice was published. The Finance and Physical Resources Committee has reviewed the fiscal year 2023 budget in detail. Estimated total appropriations for the various fund types are proposed as follows. General Fund, $164,206,138. Special Revenue Funds, $74,806,206. Capital Project Funds, $11,236,249 for a total of $250,248,593. In September 2022, the Board of Commissioners authorized 1.9661 mills for voter-approved dedicated millages via Resolution 092222-101, which has been used as a basis for preparing the FY 2023 budget. In May 2023, the Board of Commissioners will be requested to authorize a general property tax levy on real and personal property within the county upon the equalized tax roll to support county general operations in 2023. This request includes the addition of 13.8 full-time equated positions, including 1 senior admin specialist, 1 part-time community engagement specialist converted to full-time, 1 maintenance technician, 2 human resources specialists, 1 business tech analyst, 1 part-time volunteer coordinator converted to full-time, 1 judge, 2 judicial clerks, 1 assistant supervisor, 2 assistant prosecuting attorneys, and 2 patrol deputies, recommended by the Legislative and Human Resources Committee.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Morgan. We have moved by Commissioner Morgan. We'll have support by Commissioner Sparks. We'll take questions, comments, and discussion. We'll start with Commissioner Morgan.
Yeah, I appreciate the work of the staff on this again. And when I first got on the board, Al, this is directed towards you, I guess. We had over 2,000 employees.
We got up to.
And then the recession hit, and then we had to not fill positions forever. And I don't know where the sweet spot is as far as the employee size of an organization as big as Kent County, but just keep an eye on, the size and growth of government, because government's in a unique position, because when times are bad, you need more programs. When times are good, they get more money for the programs. So they're always in a sweet spot, it seems to me. So a little philosophical there, Tom, for you, my 22 years being on this board. But, I think it's a good budget, but I just want to keep an eye on the size and the growth in Kent County and make sure that we're positioned right for our needs. Thanks.
Thanks. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say yes. Yes. All those opposed, please say no. That motion passes. That brings us to item number 5 from the Circuit Court Child Care Juvenile Detention. Al?
Action requested, recommend to the Board of Commissioners to accept and appropriate an additional $25,838.73 from the Michigan Department of Education to the fiscal year 2022 Milk Meal Grant Budget in the Special Projects Fund, and to authorize the board chair or designee to execute the grant agreement, approve extensions, amendments, and increases to the grant appropriation not to exceed 15% of the total award. The United States Department of Agriculture, via the MDE, Michigan Department of Education, provides funding for nutritious breakfasts and lunches to eligible children residing in a detention center. The board appropriated $150,000 to the fiscal year 2022 Milk Meal Grant Budget via Resolution 992185. MDE has since awarded Kent County an additional $25,838.73 due to increased meal reimbursement costs and supply chain challenges, bringing the total award to $175,838.73. An additional appropriation of $25,838.73 is required to close out the fiscal year. The grant term is October 2021 to September 30, 2022.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Commissioner Sparks, supported by Commissioner Wooden, and we'll take questions, comments, and discussion on this one. We'll start with Commissioner Sparks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So looking at this $25,800 to close out the fiscal year, was that because there were more children going into that system? I know it says supply chain. I just can't imagine that the supply chain is, well, that looks like about, what, 30%? So how did we get to the 25?
Welcome.
Good morning. Yeah, I believe that's part of it, is that we do have a bigger detention facility, so there's more kids that have been going in. But also just the cost of everything has gone up, including food, as I think we all know that do our grocery shop. So yeah, it affects us as well in the detention center.
Okay, anyone else? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say yes. All those opposed, please say no. That motion passes. That brings us to Commissioner Miscellaneous, and we'll start with Commissioner Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to remind the commissioners that 1 year ago, Deputy Sheriff David Cook died of COVID, and it's his one-year anniversary of his death, and I just want to remind the county and the commissioners of that. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other Commissioner Miscellaneous? I'm just going to add, we have a work session after this on the affordable housing revolving loan. So that starts at 9:30.
Correct.
Just as a reminder for those who are here, And with that, we are adjourned. Our next meeting is Tuesday, November 15th, 2022 at 8:30.